Hi, my name is Kate. Welcome to the Home Sweet Healthy Home podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Home Sweet Healthy Homes podcast.
How are you?
Hi, good. How are you today?
Been loyal listeners, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
Hi, Kate. Thank you. I'm well, thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jane Barry.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Home Sweet Healthy Homes. We have a really exciting episode today because, first of all, it's our 1-year anniversary of the podcast, which is super exciting. So fun. Also, we do have another special guest here today on the podcast too for our special 1-year anniversary. So welcome, Sean. How are you?
I am so good, Kate. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary. Happy 1-year anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super
Very
excited to have you on here. I'm going to use some of your expertise here in community development. So let's start off, get to know you a little bit. Could you explain a little bit about yourself, maybe how long you've been here in the city?
Well, I'm a lifelong Quincy resident, born and raised,
Exciting.
product of the Quincy Public Schools, proud to say.
Yeah.
And 2 months, I'll be celebrating my 20th anniversary
Wow.
in the city of Quincy,
Wow.
specifically the Department of Planning and Community Development,
Yeah.
which is hard to believe. It's gone by really quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
It really has. But it's been a great adventure, and I'm so excited to be your guest today because I feel like I've really made it now that I'm on your podcast.
Yeah,
This
it's
is very
pretty
exciting.
important.
It is. It's
Pretty
hard to get
important.
on. It's very hard to get booked on this show.
Yeah.
It's taken
booking
a
out
year for me to get here. So
3 months in advance, 4 months in advance. Yeah, perfect. So you just mentioned you're in the planning and community development for almost 20 years. So can you explain a little bit, I guess, how you got into community development, how you're here, all that?
sure. So I had interned with the city's Conservation Commission when I was in college. And I was studying political science at the time. And after graduation, I was sort of looking for something to do. I was getting, resumes out there and doing interviews. And I happened
All
to
the
run
fun stuff.
Yeah. I ran into the planning director at the time, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm looking for a job." And he said, "Well, I could use somebody for about 6
Yeah.
months, 6-month internship, basically."
Yeah, perfect.
And that turned into what is now a 20-year career. And I just fell into it, and I
Yeah.
fell in love with
Yeah.
the whole environment of community development, plus the coworkers that we had at the time.
course.
I think Rob Stevens probably is the only one still left
Yeah.
when I started. But we've really had a great run, and I love the team that we have and the work that we do.
Yeah, time flies when you're having
It
fun.
really does.
Yeah, could you explain, I guess, a little bit of a day-to-day of what you do here in the office?
Well, one of the things I love about it is that no 2 days are
Yeah.
the same. The days do fly by. They're just, people come in and going all the time
Yeah.
with different, issues and concerns and projects and applications and phone calls and emails. But, we kind of operate on a 1-year cycle, as you know, Kate, between the application process for the entitlement funds that we apply for, the competitive funds that we apply
Yeah.
for. And so every year we're either applying for new money, we're kind of closing out the previous year, working on the current year. So even though we have a 12-month program year, we're always working on 3 years at
Yeah.
the same time. We're closing out the previous one, working on this year, and getting ready for next year. So it's a really busy place, and like I said, the days fly by.
Yeah, to-do list is always full. There's something you're always learning too in the office as well, which is something that I've learned kind of being here for a year and a half so far. It's you come in and you have all this knowledge, but you're expanding on that knowledge and learning more about it as you kind of go through with your role, which is really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you just listed some responsibilities that you have, some things you do in your day. What is, I guess, one of your favorite parts of all the things that you have to do on your list?
Well, obviously working with you and your crew in the Office of Healthy Homes, that's certainly one of the best parts. But we have such a great staff of dedicated people that truly care
Yeah.
about the city, and they love what they do. They're so passionate about the work.
Yeah.
And that's just so infectious. It makes
Yeah.
you want to even learn and grow and do more. But certainly, working with the nonprofits that we do and, funding the projects that we fund, the applications, the sub-recipient applications, I would call them. Participating in regional and national conferences that we get to
Yeah.
attend. And it's always great. Just going to them is one thing because you're meeting with colleagues in other parts of the region or even other parts of the country. But Quincy has a phenomenal track record in being asked to present
Yeah.
at these conferences, and is considered a national model when it comes to a lot of the things that we do. And that certainly gives you a really good feeling and know that you're on the right track for the types of programs that we offer.
Yeah, not to give us a little pat on the shoulder, but the last conference we presented quite a few times back in Cambridge.
Yeah, we really did. It was great to have it in our own backyard.
Yeah.
Here it is, this national conference celebrating the 50th anniversary of the CDBG program. And I think we had about a half a dozen sessions that we either moderated or presented at. We received a couple of awards at that one. One was the Audrey Nelson Award, which recognizes best practices with a physical project, and that was recognizing the radiology site at Manic Community, their North Quincy location. And then the other was the 50th anniversary award. It was the Longevity Award by the National Community Development Association. First time that award has ever been given out in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Community Development Block Grant Program. And that was recognizing the Manat Community Health Center project, obviously in Housnack, sort of community center in partnership with Manat Community Health. And that was a project, funded back in the late 70s, which it's just, I still pinch myself. This is unbelievable that here in our own backyard, we have the longest continuously operating CDBG funded project in the entire country. It's still going strong, and it's such a remarkable achievement, and it's not something that I did. I'm just proud to carry on the legacy of the CD directors that came before me and the city partners that helped make that possible back in the late 70s. Peg O'Connor, who is still very active in the community, being one of those people. And it was great to have her come to that conference in Cambridge, along with Ellen Hafer from Manic Community Health and Cynthia Sierra. It was just a wonderful celebration. We were so happy to be part of that. And again, the odds of having that celebration in Cambridge, that conference could have been anywhere.
Yeah,
but the fact that it was in Cambridge, just the stars really aligned for that to happen.
Yeah, and it's exciting. And the winter one is coming up, fastly approaching in Washington, D.C., which is always so fun. And having all the trainings there the day before on site, too, is so helpful for, like we said, we're always looking to learn new things and more about maybe something you're currently doing. There's always more layers to learn about. So super excited for that one coming up in, I think, February this year. Due to the inauguration. So every 4 years inauguration, we bump it to February. Otherwise, it would be January. So pretty exciting stuff. Pretty exciting. So as you just mentioned, Manat, been a partner with them for longest CD.
Since inception, since they were created 45 years ago.
How are these partnerships, how are they used in our office? What are some of the benefits that we have with them, being in our office?
Well, I love the overlap. It's really a win-win that they are serving the citizens of Quincy through their programs, and we're helping them do that by funding them and creating these physical plant opportunities, but also even sometimes funding staff or these pilot programs they want to do. So it's just this incredible partnership the synergy that's created through the nonprofit. The fact that the city of Quincy helped create Manat to begin with, and to see what it's become now. It had that one site originally in Housnack. That was it, one site with a couple of staffers, and now they have hundreds of employees and many locations across the entire
how it's grown
area. And it's amazing just to know that we're part of that 45 years ago. So things like that, and even the partnership with Father Bill's in Mainspring, to see the growth that they've had over the years, and that's through the partnership through the Continuum of Care program, which is a competitive program. When I started 20 years ago, that was one of the very first projects I worked on, and our funding was about $1.5 million a year, and now it's $10 million that we're applying for on an annual basis. And again, it's not just our work, but it's our partnership with Father Bill's in Mainspring and helping them to grow and merge and become what is now a 29 or so community consortium, which is incredible. It was 2 communities when I started. Here 20 years later, it's really grown.
It's crazy. And if you do want to hear more about Father Bill's, we did have back in the previous episodes, we had someone come on from Father Bill's and talk about it. So just putting that plug in there if you wanted to listen to that episode.
Great episode with Liz Rogers. She was a phenomenal guest. Yeah.
She had so much knowledge, and it was so nice meeting her and talking. So definitely go check it out. But let's get back to the regularly scheduled. So now that we've talked about that you've been here for quite some time, what are some lessons that you've learned along the way that have kind of shaped how you do your job now and how you help the community?
It's a great question. And I think, one of the things that I've really benefited from is working with my colleagues, my predecessors who came before me. When
Yeah.
I started, a gentleman by the name of Lito Santos was the community development director. After he left, Nancy Callanan became CD director. She was the home program coordinator at the time and was elevated to that position. And I learned a lot from watching both of them. Also, working for now 3 planning directors, 3 department heads.
Yeah.
Richie Mead was the director when I first started, when I was interning. Of course, then Dennis Harrington, and now Jim Fatses. Just working with various colleagues over the years. Some people have come and gone. I've tried to emulate the folks that I thought were the most impactful
Yeah,
over the years,
of course.
and maybe not utilize some of the techniques used by others. So I've definitely shout out some folks and just tried to watch them, see what works and,
Yeah.
and what doesn't, and try to plan accordingly, and hopefully some of that is rubbed off.
Yes, no, definitely. And so, we've been throwing around this term CDBG, for the couple words we wanted for CDBG. For those who may not know exactly what CDBG is, that are listening to it, could you describe a little bit about what the grant is, how it's used?
Absolutely. So CDBG stands for the Community Development Block Grant Program. We're now celebrating the 50th anniversary of the program this year. Yeah, the 50th anniversary was just this past August. It was an act that essentially combined what were several different individual programs into one, this block grant program. And so it's used for a wide variety of programs. It's an incredibly flexible program, which is really I think the greatest benefit, and what gives it so much power, that you can use it for so many things, and each community gets to determine how they want to use their funding.
Yeah.
It's not prescribed that where the state or the federal government comes down and says you have to use it for this. They give us wide variety, this kind of long menu of things that can be used. So we use it for things like street and sidewalk paving in low-income areas. We use it to fund the Council on Aging's transportation program, the senior transportation
Yeah.
program, which a lot of people wouldn't know because it's not written on the side of the van. We don't make
Right.
it really a big thing, but it's something
Yeah.
that we help subsidize, that van transportation program. We fund a couple of food pantries in the area down in Germantown, and also the Southwest Food Pantry program
Yeah.
through QCAP. A lot of the community centers in the area, the nonprofits, pretty much all of them receive funding through us. We work through the Quincy Chamber of Commerce, through Cubic Labs, through Quincy College to fund economic development programs, and of course housing rehab, as you know,
Yeah.
through our Office of Healthy Homes. And so, the list just goes on and on. It's I think it's almost shorter to say what can't be funded
Right.
than what we do fund. But
Yeah.
it's a program that we have received over $100 million
Wow.
over the years,
Yeah.
since 1975. Hopefully the program lasts for at least another 50 years.
Of course. So such a versatile grant, as used for sidewalks, food pantries, anything really that could help the community. It's really awesome. And hopefully, and then we'll be celebrating the 100th year anniversary.
I don't know if I'll be here, but I hope so.
Yeah, in the future. How do you see, since we're talking about the future, how do you see this evolving through the years?
So one thing that was really interesting at the Cambridge conference, and I think the timing just worked out perfectly, is that there was a session celebrating the 50th anniversary. We had a couple of speakers that were there
Yeah.
back in the late 70s who are, they're retired now, but they remember what it was like. And back then, the application to HUD was like a 1 or 2 page document,
Yeah.
basically just saying this is what we want to do. And
Yeah.
the program was so new, the regulations were so new, and they
Yeah.
weren't as beefy as they were today. So certainly over the past 50 years, the application's gotten a lot longer. The regulations have increased. The reporting burden has become much more burdensome.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run, it's good. It's for good reasons. It's because maybe some communities kind of stretched the line a little bit, and maybe we're taking advantage of the program, and so Congress came down and increased the reporting requirements and the regulations. But flexibilities have also increased too. I think Congress has seen the power of the program, the benefits of allowing the communities to choose where the funding should go based on a needs assessment done in the community. And so overall, it's a very powerful and effective program. The only drawback has been that our grant today is about $1.7 million, which is also what it was back in the late 70s, was
Yeah.
$1.7 million. And obviously a dollar went a lot further back in the 70s than it did today. And so, I would love to see a cost of living adjustment. That's something that, we've tried to advocate with Congressman Lynch, who was very supportive of that. And I can't speak enough for how supportive he's been, with us over the years. But of course, there are just federal spending gaps for discretionary funds that they're capped, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to move the needle on that. But I would love to see an increase of funding so that we could do more. Another issue that came down the pike is it's called the Davis-Bacon labor standards, which means that we are paid prevailing wage on construction projects, which is fine. And I don't suggest that we should pull that, but the regulations for that program haven't changed in about 50 years. Just like the CDBG program. I'd love to see that cap increase. So that's some of the smaller projects, like if somebody wants to do a small housing rehab project or a roof project, maybe we could waive those requirements, which would stretch our dollar and help us fund more roof project for seniors, for example.
Yeah. No, definitely. And hopefully we'll see those as the years go on. And yeah. Okay, so now going into a more general sense, because CDBG is just a small portion of what you do in your day-to-day. How do you see your role as community development director evolving and changing, or what are some goals that you have for the future?
That's a great question. And over the 20 years, we've certainly seen some changes, some growth and expansion. Like I said, with the COC program that evolved from 2 communities to now 20 plus, almost 30. Our home consortium has expanded.
Yes.
It was Quincy and Weymouth when I first started, and thanks to my predecessor Nancy Callanan, we included Milton, Braintree, and Holbrook. And now we just added Randolph.
Exciting.
Which is phenomenal. So that's growing, which a lot of people probably wouldn't know. We're the lead community for these consortia. They'd probably think, just these are Quincy funds administered by Quincy people, but it's not. We're running these regional programs, which is phenomenal. Even the lead paint abatement program, now working with Weymouth on some of these things and sort of expanding on that. And that's another, I think, good segue to just show the growth is this lead paint abatement program that we have, which we didn't have when I first started. We would get some state funds every once in a while, but not the millions of dollars that your team is seeing come in, which is phenomenal. I see that continued growth. Anytime a member of the team comes up and says, I'd love to apply for this program, what do you think? My answer is always going to be yes. I'm never going to say no, we shouldn't apply for something. As long as it's a well thought out program and application, and we think we can add the staff that might be needed to go for it. 100% I'm going to be behind that, and I love when people take the initiative to do that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's exciting with our lead program and National Lead Poisoning Prevention Week that just passed. First of all, hope you all had a great time at all of our events, but having that lead program and having this week, it's really fun not only to promote the week but to educate anybody who is unaware of the harmful effects of lead in the house, which I was semi-unaware of. Understand that lead is bad for you, but I guess really diving in deep and realizing how bad it can be for you and having this program available with the grant funds that we have, it's really awesome. All right, so now we're going to get out of this CDBG grant technical talk here and get into some more fun stuff. For my last question, what is a fun fact that you have to share with the podcast?
I think what a lot of people probably wouldn't know is that I am a part-time church organist. I love music. It's just something that has been with me for a long time. I played the piano as a kid, took lessons for 10 years, and that evolved into parish music ministry. It's something I've been doing for about 25 years now, and I love it. I'm a member of the Boston chapter of the American Guild of Organists. I serve on their executive committee, and it's a lot of fun to go to the organ at different churches and participate in workshops and hear other people play. It's really a very powerful and complicated instrument. It's a lot of fun to play and hear it played. Yeah,
and so I'm trying to think of an organist. It's similar to a piano. Does it have the keys?
It's similar structure.
Okay.
It does have it's a smaller keyboard, but most of them have multiple keyboards.
Okay.
Lots of pipes, and, and also the addition of the pedal board, which you play with your feet, and then unlike a piano, which volume is based on how hard you press the key. That doesn't happen on an organ. You can pound an organ key, and it's not going to matter. It's these expression pedals that you use with your feet. So it's a very strange experience at first to go from one to the other. You're kind of thinking to yourself, why isn't this thing getting louder? but it's really fun and to be able to play a variety of sounds from these sort of strings to
Yeah.
brassy 32-foot pipes where you're literally the ground is shaking and you can really feel it.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and both have gorgeous sounds that come out of it as well.
They do.
You learn something new every day. All right, so I just have a couple other quick announcements to make before we wrap up our special 1-year anniversary. We do have the puppet show coming on November 7th. That's going to be at 10:30 a.m. over at the Thomas Crane Library on 40 Washington Street. We are having Lee come again, so you don't want to miss out. And then I just want to ask you all and thank you all for having such a successful LED week. We're super excited and we always love planning it. I hope you loved it as much as we did and are excited for next year. Crazy as that is to say. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Sean.
Kate, I have one more surprise.
Oh.
Something I got to add there.
All right.
This is in celebration of the 1-year anniversary. So this is a City of Quincy
Oh,
Department of Planning and Community Development certificate.
wow.
Recognition presented to you, Kate Tenney, in recognition and celebration of the 1-year anniversary of the Home Sweet Healthy Home podcast in partnership with Quincy Access Television. Your episodes have educated residents about the City of Quincy's Office of Healthy Homes and the programs it offers, including housing rehabilitation, lead paint remediation, home modification for seniors aging in place, and first-time home buyers. Through the inclusion of guests on your program, you have addressed crucial topics such as communications access and the intersection of healthy housing and housing instability. In your capacity as research assistant for communications outreach, you have revolutionized the way our department conducts marketing efforts to our residents, and we are grateful for your work in improving the quality of life for the residents of our great city. And that is presented to you by Sherry Zoe, Housing Development Director, Jim Fatsis, our department head, and myself. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh my God. This is awesome. I'm like shocked.
Well deserved.
Thanks so much, everyone. Wow.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, with an exciting wrap up, I want to say that you, as always, can give us a call over at the office, 617-376-1055. Or as always, feel free to email me 8:30, 4:30, Monday through Friday with any questions that you may have. But, all right. Bye, guys. Thanks for one awesome year.